In 1872, a ship was found sailing the Atlantic by itself. 10 people gone, nothing stolen, nothing broken, and the answer hides in 9 empty barrels. You're at the Odd Observatory. Let's take a closer look. December 4th, 1872, 400 miles east of the Azores, the British ship Dei Gracia spots a vessel moving strangely, yawing, sails oddly set. The captain signals her. No answer. He watches for 2 hours. Nothing. So he sends a boarding party across. The ship is the Mary Celeste, out of New York, and what they find on board makes this one of the most argued about mysteries in maritime history. The ship is deserted. Not wrecked, deserted. Her hull is sound. Her cargo, 1,701 barrels of industrial alcohol, sits untouched in the hold. 6 months of food and water. The crew's sea chests, still packed. Oilskin boots, pipes, left behind. There's about 3.5 feet of water sloshing in the hold. Sounds dramatic, but for a ship this size, not fatal. One pump had been taken apart on deck. The wheel isn't lashed. The compass housing is knocked over, the glass cracked. 2 hatch covers lie on the deck. The captain's navigation instruments. Istritavsing Ausentra mentioned. Sextant, chronometer, gone. The ship's papers, gone. The single lifeboat, gone. And the last entry on the log slate, 9 days earlier, November 25th, puts her within sight of the island of Santa Maria. Whatever happened, happened fast. And whoever left took the tools you'd need to survive and navigate in an open boat. So who were they? Captain Benjamin Spooner Briggs, 37 years old, experienced, respected, famously cautious. A captain who did not take chances. He brought his wife, Sarah, and their 2-year-old daughter, Sophia. Her toys were still aboard. Plus 7 crewmen, 4 of them from the tiny German island of Föhr, all with clean records. No troublemakers, no drunks. The alcohol in the hold wasn't even drinkable. They'd left New York on November 7th, bound for Genoa, Italy. 10 people sailed out of New York harbor. 10 people were never seen again. The Dei Gracia's crew sailed the Mary Celeste to Gibraltar to claim salvage, and immediately the questions turned ugly. The British Attorney General there, Frederick Solly Flood, was convinced it was foul play, mutiny, murder, conspiracy. He held the hearing for 3 months. Stains on the deck and on an old sword were tested. Not blood, no bodies, no struggle, no evidence of anything. The court found nothing and grudgingly paid the salvagers a fraction of the ship's value, a quiet insult that kept suspicion alive for decades. Then, in 1884, a 25-year-old doctor published a short story about the ship. Warm meals still on the table, tea still steaming. His name was Arthur Conan Doyle. That story is where most of what you've heard about the Mary Celeste comes from. The steaming breakfast? Fiction. To be clear, that detail is folklore, not the record. But here's the part almost nobody talks about. When they finally unloaded those 1,700 barrels in Genoa, 9 of them were empty. Hold that thought, because first, let's rule things out the way an investigator would. Pirates. They left a hold full of valuable cargo, the crew's belongings, and the ship itself. Pirates don't do that. Mutiny. A cautious captain, a clean record crew, no struggle, no violence, and mutineers who then abandoned the ship they'd just taken? A rogue wave? Or water spout? Possible, but the ship survived whatever happened. The people didn't. Why leave a floating ship for a 20-foot boat? Sea monsters, the Bermuda Triangle, alien abduction. The Mary Celeste wasn't anywhere near the triangle, and those theories arrived with 20th century paperbacks, not evidence. Folklore, clearly labeled. Insurance fraud? The cargo was insured, but nobody collected on a disappearance, and Briggs part-owned the ship. He vanished with his wife and baby daughter aboard. Every classic theory breaks on the same rock. The evidence says these people left voluntarily, in minutes, from a ship that did not sink, which brings us back to those 9 empty barrels. They were the only barrels in the hold made of red oak, a wood that's porous. It seeps. 9 barrels of raw industrial alcohol had been quietly leaking vapor into a sealed hold for weeks. In 2006, a chemist at University College London, Andrea Seller, built a model of that hold and ignited an alcohol vapor mix inside it. The result was astonishing. A violent, booming pressure wave, a wall of cool flame that burned nothing. No soot, no scorch marks. It looks like an explosion. It leaves no trace. Now imagine you're Captain Briggs. A blast rocks the ship from a hold packed with 1,700 barrels of fuel. Hatches blow open. You have your wife and your baby aboard. The cautious move, the right move, in that moment, is to get everyone into the lifeboat, tied to the ship by a long line, and wait for the danger to pass. And if that line ever parted, in a rising wind, in a swell, the Mary Celeste would simply sail away from them. 10 people in an open boat, hundreds of miles from land. There's one serious rival explanation, and it's just as huge. A documentary researcher, Anne McGregor, reconstructed the voyage and found Briggs' chronometer may have been off, putting him 120 miles from where he thought he was. Add a pump clogged with coal dust and debris from a previous cargo, meaning he couldn't tell how much water was really in the hold, and that sounding rod found on deck starts to make sense. A captain who believes he's sinking within sight of Santa Maria Island makes for land in the boat. Explosion or miscalculation? Both roads end the same way. A seaworthy ship and a small boat that never reached shore. The Mary Celeste sailed on for 12 more years, passed between owners who couldn't shake her reputation, until 1885, when her last captain deliberately ran her onto a reef in Haiti for the insurance money. Even that went wrong. She wouldn't sink. The fraud was exposed. Folklore says the ship was cursed. The record says people kept making bad decisions around her. Here's the observation to take with you. The mystery was never what happened to the ship. It's that 10 careful people made one reasonable decision, and the ocean never let them take it back. The sea keeps the rest. The observatory logs something strange every week. Subscribe so you don't miss the next observation.